We have another question here on the screen. Can a co-buying situation qualify for the 5-1 arm? Absolutely. We've talked before in the last couple of weeks about, your first-time home buyer. You're young, maybe you're in your late 20s, early 30s. You don't want to be that person who's 40 years old when they buy their first home. How can you get into the market earlier? Buy with a trusted friend or maybe a relative, brother, sister, or two sisters or two brothers. Buy with a trusted friend. Yes, you can use a 5-1 arm as a loan type for a co-buying situation. I think we mentioned in the past shows, we've talked about like a $600,000 purchase price. That's about the median price of a home in the Coachella Valley. You could use a FHA 5-1 arm, 3.5% down payment. It's about 21 grand. You split that in two. That's 10,500 each. Maybe you request a seller credit on when you offer the full 600. Maybe you get 25 grand. We can then turn around and use that to permanently buy down that rate on the 5-1 arm, where you could maybe get a start rate at 3 7/8. Well, guess what? You take the principal and interest on that, even with the FHA mortgage insurance, split it in two. Well, gee, these two buyers, these two co-buyers, they can end up each paying maybe around $1,900, $2,000 a month each, which is a lot better for rent in most places, including here in the Valley. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment is probably going to cost you, $2,500 a month. And we demonstrated a week or two ago a listing right here locally in Cathedral City, a 2,300 square foot house with 4 bedrooms, 3 baths listed at $599. A 5-1 arm, using the strategy I just described, would be a great way to get into that home ownership and not continue to wait. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. And so, yeah, very good question. And yes, we can definitely help you with that. So that we'll go ahead and talk about common mistakes. So this is, I felt necessary to cover because I think there are still some common mistakes. And, Jeff's going to pull up the list. Common mistakes are waiting for lower rates, waiting for lower prices. And what's the risk? You're missing the window of leverage. Folks, those of you who are still waiting for lower rates or prices, you're stuck in yesterday. And worst case, you're stuck in yesterday a couple of years ago during the pandemic. Understand that the pandemic was an artificial situation. It was not indicative of a normal market. In my 45 years, I had never originated mortgages at 2%. We had never seen that before. The pandemic was a 100-year event. And to support our national economy that was shut down, the Federal Reserve pumped huge amounts of money into the money supply to prop up the economy. The byproduct of that drove rates to virtually zero. And so, yes, it was a frothy time. Rates were extremely low. It made home ownership extremely affordable.